Hi loves, welcome and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, it is going to be this full face makeup tutorial on this look I created right here. Today's makeup look was inspired by the Danessa Myricks Blooming Romance palette. I think that palette is absolutely gorgeous, but unfortunately I am not able to pick it up at the moment because the government likes to play with people's money apparently. So I am not able to pick up that palette just yet, but I do plan on picking up the palette for the Sephora sale, which I do believe is at the end of this month if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, you guys, I definitely want that palette because it seems so innovative. I don't know why it's taking me this long to like notice it. Honestly, I couldn't wait to do this makeup look that I had in my head. I went inside of my collection and I just picked a few eyeshadow palettes that I feel like would give me a look that the Danessa Myricks Blooming in Romance palette would. So that's pretty much what I did, you guys. I ended up using 3 palettes for today's eyeshadow look. I know that's kind of excessive. Usually I would never do that, but I do feel like I need to utilize my makeup a lot more, especially my eyeshadow palettes. I used to be an eyeshadow girl, but now I just don't for real. So yeah, I'm just trying to get back into me just incorporating eyeshadows in my makeup look. So the 3 palettes that I use, 2 out of the 3 is from P. Louise. 1 is discontinued, which I will show you guys that one first. This is the Watch the Queen Conquer palette. Obviously you don't have to use the same shades that I use, you guys, as far as like the same palettes. You can use different shades and different palettes if you would like, but I just used this side right here. I used like these plum shades and these deeper orange shades and peach shades. Then the next palette from P. Louise I use is the Expensive Taste palette, and I mainly use the brown shades because on the outer corner it's more so of a brown, and then on the inner corner it's more of a plum, but I used a bunch of these brown shades as well. And then for the third palette, which is not discontinued, is the Give Me Glow Cosmetics palette. This is the Two Moods palette, which this palette is discontinued as far as how it's set up. It doesn't like open like this anymore. They still sell this palette on their website, you guys, but I think the new one comes with a mirror. I'll put the picture on the screen so you guys can see what the new one looks like, but it's the same exact shades, and I feel like they're square now instead of circle. But yeah, I love this palette. Honestly, after looking at this makeup look and how it came out, you could definitely just use this palette, you guys. Using the 2 other palettes is kind of like not necessary. I wish I would have just used this palette as a whole so it could be easier for you guys to recreate. But yeah, well, recreate if you want to, but yes, you guys, this palette is gorgeous. I love how one side is more grungy and smoky and the other side is more so like sweet and flirty and just brighter pinker shades. So before we get into the actual tutorial, you guys, I do want to go over a couple of things that I did not get on footage because my camera had died. So for my lash line, I did go in with these 2 pigments from P. Louise. One is in the shade Raver and one is in the shade Ecstasy. So I mixed these 2 together to get like kind of like a plummy purple shade, and I put that on my lash line more so towards the inner corner. And then I just set it with a eyeshadow that was in the P. Louise Watch the Queen Conquer palette, one of like the plummy shades, which you guys will see in the video. And then for my lip, this is like my signature lip. This is nothing new, you guys. I like to take the 2 Wet n Wild pencils. One is in Baby's Got Black, and I just outline my lips first, and then I fill it in with the brown, and then I top it off with the Huda Beauty Faux Filler lip gloss in the shade She Fire. You guys, that is it for the intro. I don't want to ramble too much. Like I said, this is a full face makeup tutorial, so I don't want the video to be too long. So if you guys do like how this look came out, then feel free to like this video and share it with your makeup friends. And while you're at it, please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next one. So like always, you guys, I'm going in with my P. Louise eyeshadow base. This is in the shade 2.5, and I'm just going to be blending that from my lash line all the way up to my brow bone. I literally use this P. Louise base for every single eyeshadow look that I do. So yeah, this is literally nothing new, you guys, if you're familiar with my channel. So yeah, I like to just blend that out and just make sure that I get a nice even layer. And then afterwards, I like to go in with a sponge and just make sure that I pick up any of that excess product. That way we just have a nice even thin layer of that eyeshadow base. So now I'm taking my P. Louise Expensive Taste palette, and I'm going into that first shade, which is called Best Outcome, and I'm going to be pretty much putting that on the outer corner of my crease. I kind of did a half and half, you guys. So the outer corner was mainly brown, in the crease, and then the inner corner was more of like a berry tone. So I just applied that, and then I moved on to the inner corner, and that's when I went into the P. Louise Watch the Queen Conquer palette and just taking that berry plum shade. And then right after that, I just went in with another brown shade, and I pretty much just blended that in with the first brown shade that I applied, just creating some transition shades and just making sure everything is nice and blended and diffused. And now I'm going to be doing the same thing that I did on the brown side. Usually when I do a half and half kind of crease look, you guys, like how I'm doing today, is usually just a back and forth thing. So I'll go from one color to the other and just making sure that everything is nice and blended on both sides, you guys. So for my last shade that I used, it was pretty much the same shade that I used on both sides. I wanted to go in with like a orangey transition shade. So I wanted that shade to be the transition for both sides of the creases, for the plum and for the brown as well. So I'm just going back and forth. And then once I applied that, I just went back in with all of those shades that I used, you guys, to just make sure that I bring back the intensity that I want it to be. And now I'm just going to cut my crease off of camera. You guys have seen me do this a million times. So I went in with the very first shade that we used in the crease, and I'm just going to blend out the edges to make sure everything blends nicely and has a nice gradient effect on the outer corner. So next, I'm going to be taking the peach shade in the Watch the Queen Conquer palette, and I'm just making sure that everything is just pretty much overlapping each other, you guys. When I go in with lid shades, like multiple different ones, I always overlap it to pretty much just ensure that the shades are blending in together nicely with each other. I kind of regret going in with this last shade. I just didn't feel like it went well. I don't really care for the lid shades that I chose, but it is what it is, you guys. Hopefully you guys still liked the look. And that's another thing as well that I noticed with my eyeshadow looks. When I do a cut crease, they never ever look the same. One is always higher than the other. I don't really know how I can fix that issue, you guys. It always happens, but it is what it is. So yes, now I'm going to be taking my P. Louise cosmetic paint, and I'm just going to be lining my lash line. And I did go ahead and set that with the first shade that we used. So now we're going to be going into skin. I am going to be taking the Benefit Professional Foundation, the shade 31N. I have officially just given up on this foundation, you guys. It's a beautiful, beautiful foundation. However, it just does not last long on my skin at all. It separates, and I have tried to do every single thing in my power to make that foundation work, and it's just not working for me. So yeah, I'm just going to ditch that foundation. But yeah, so now I'm moving on to my concealer, and I'm going in with the Makeup by Mario concealer, and I'm just pretty much applying that concealer everywhere. I just want my face to be highlighted, and yeah, I like to let that sit on my skin for about 30 seconds, and then I blend it out. That way it adds more coverage. This concealer, you do have a lot of blend time, so you're able to do that technique with this. And speaking of concealer, you guys, I am definitely on the hunt for a new sponge that I can blend out my concealer with. Something that is similar to this size or maybe a little bit smaller. I do have my small beauty blender that I use now. I had to throw this one that I'm currently using away because it was just, I had it for so many years at this point, and it's definitely not sanitary to keep using the same sponge for that long. I should have been through this away, honestly, but this is the only one that I love so much. It's not like this is discontinued or anything like that. It's just not the same, you guys. This is the e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge. I've bought multiples of these, but they just don't feel the same. They're way harder. So if you guys have any recommendations, please let me know. And now I'm going on to cream bronzer and powder bronzer as well. And you guys, honestly, I was just not feeling this at all. These are the P. Louise cream bronzer and powder bronzer, and I just don't really like the cream bronzer. It is not the easiest to blend out. It's super matte, and also I don't like the shade at all. It looks very muddy on my skin tone, and it looks way too neutral on my skin as well. That's why I feel like it gives like a muddy look, because it's just super neutral. So yeah, I just definitely don't like that. The formula is not too bad. I could work with the formula more than I can work with the shade, but that's pretty much the main reason why I don't see myself really pulling for this at all, honestly, anymore. So yeah, kind of frustrating because P. Louise's return and exchange policy is not the best at all. Being that I use this, I understand it's like for sanitary purposes, but I don't know. Any other brand, you'll be able to return stuff after you use it, but with this one, you can't. So it is what it is. I'm pretty much stuck with it. But now I am blending out my brightening shade, you guys. Still the same concealer, the Makeup by Mario concealer. It's just in a brighter shade. So I'm just blending that out, and then we're going to move on to setting the face. And I do apologize for not showing you guys all of the products that I was using. I was kind of rushing, like, well, when am I not rushing when I'm recording, honestly? But yes, I did go in with the Huda Beauty Easy Bake setting powder in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. So I'm just pretty much setting every single where that I applied the concealers. So now I'm going to be taking Truffle Trend by P. Louise. This is their baked powder bronzer. And I'm just going to be going over that cream bronzer. So I want to say I used the cream bronzer in the shade So Cinnamon, which is more on the neutral side, while Truffle Trend is more so on the reddish side. So I kind of try to switch them up so I can like balance out the bronzer and kind of take away from it being so like neutral. So yeah, you guys, I still feel like I look kind of muddy. It helped though. The Truffle Trend definitely helped, but I just feel like I looked a little muddy. Now I'm taking one of my favorite blushes. This is the Kosas blush in the shade Adrenaline. I really do like these blushes. They give you such a nice like airbrush kind of finish, and it's very smooth and pigmented. So now I'm going to be taking the One Size translucent powder, and I just like to use that to set pretty much everywhere that I did not set with like bronzer or the Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder. I just like to make sure that my entire face is nice and set. Now I'm taking my favorite highlighter of all time. This is the Haus Labs highlighter in the shade Pink Amethyst. I like to spray my brush first with like some sort of finishing spray, and then I dip the brush into the product and I just apply it to my skin, and I just build it up to the intensity that I want it to be. Now moving on to my lower lash line, you guys, I did have a little bit of footage of me doing this, so I went in with those two shades together. I mixed them together and then I applied it to my lash line, mainly in the front, and then I took more so of a brown in the outer corner. But this is the finished look, you guys. Of course, I forgot to do an outro video, so I just used the video that I did from my TikTok. So I hope you all enjoyed today's video and you learned something new. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Mwah.